Welcome back to Laddie's Wake the Fuck Up Samurai. We got a city to burn.
You know,
Yeah,
you're so. Logan was so offended by that he left.
Yep.
Well, in all seriousness, he just took that dinosaur we literally took down in the last part, and he's having it as an early dinner.
Do you guys even know what I was referencing?
No, I know exactly what you were referencing. It's like one of those cases where, considering the shit it's been going through in these days, it's like not sure how to really respond to
Look,
that.
again, I'm just going to say it. The game itself is fine. There are issues, not going to lie, but the biggest problem is the fact that CDPR's higher-ups, the management, fucking lied.
Yeah, it's a classic case of the executives really screwed over the overall product just to make a quick buck.
Yeah, and it really did irk me, in my opinion, but even then, the game itself...
Oh, you're back.
The game itself...
And you're gone just as quickly.
Yep.
Wow.
Again, the Colon Sword is no joke.
It's not bad. I put about 40 hours in it now, and it is a very decently well done game at least.
Fair. That is completely fair.
How long would you assume the game is total?
If you want to do the main story, maybe like just the main story and try to power through it, maybe 30 hours or 25. But I like doing everything, so it's going to take a long fucking time. Because you can go through the main story technically relatively fast, but if you want everything the game is going to offer, there's a shit ton.
So
Gotcha.
kind of like Majora's Mask, it's most of it, the bulk of its content is in side options.
Exactly.
Gotcha. So with that said, Turtle Rock is obviously being the final dungeon of the game, does try its best to pull all the stops. Like, it brings back most, if not all, the mini bosses you fought throughout the course of all the other dungeons.
Time for a boss rush.
Sort of. And on top of that, there's going to be a lot of lava. Now, thankfully, despite it being the last dungeon of the game, I don't find this nearly as annoying as Eagle Tower was. And to the Switch version's benefit, honestly, considering just the overall fact that, well, the way it lays everything out is a lot more crisper, cleaner, and a little more freeform. It just, overall, this dungeon's not that bad. It can definitely be a little tricky for first-timers, especially for one particular gimmick they expect you to learn, like, immediately. But you'll see what I mean once we get to it, because it actually stumped the fuck out of me when I got to it.
Well, okay, there's the key.
I like how those things just sucker punch you and then fly away.
Yeah, and it's like... it's like, there you go. The rewards right there.
Yeah.
But, another thing that this dungeon does is... Yeah, no, it's a pretty big dungeon. Though, that being said, it's only one floor.
Okay, would you say it's the biggest dungeon in the game?
Sort of, yeah. Also, we're also properly introduced to these things, which create platforms for you.
That's nice of it.
And the game does encourage you to, for the most part... Oh, it's kind of dark in here, don't you think? Don't you wish we had a light?
Kinda spooky.
But yeah, that being said, with those tile creators, they do encourage you to fill up all the pitfalls, and in doing so, you usually get a reward from them. Usually, be rupees or the typical small key.
Now, is it the path that they go? Is it automatic, or is it possible to influence where they go?
You have to influence it, and there is a bit of delay you have to anticipate in order to make the most out of it.
Okay.
But yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, no, this place is pretty big, pretty spacious, and... Oh, that's right, I almost forgot! With the Koholint sword, now I can break pots by just swiping my sword at them!
Yay!
Thank God! It kind of makes me feel like I'm playing... It almost makes it feel like I'm playing Link Between Worlds all over again.
Which is good.
Almost.
But, yeah. Anyway, what?
It's alright. But, I mean, I guess we could go into that real quick, since, we're nearing the end of the game, and just about everything we could say about Link's Awakening's more or less been exhausted. Before I actually recorded this game for the channel, I also did record a good chunk of A Link Between Worlds, because I think I've said this many times before, but that is legitimately my favorite Zelda game of all time.
Yeah.
It's
And
my favorite.
naturally,
It's my favorite. Oh, sorry.
It's my favorite Zelda of all time, and it was on a console that's not very easy to record off of. So once I had the opportunity to record it in a mostly stable quality, I took that opportunity real quick.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will have to like echo James's sentiments. Like,
Oh,
I'm
here
not
we
sure
go
if
again.
Yeah.
Oh, let's play catch again, brother.
Okay, just don't throw too hard. Ow! You threw too hard, monster!
Oh,
Jerk. But I was about to say, like, I do kind of have to, like, I do have to slightly echo James's sentiments, to an extent. Like, I do love Link Between Worlds. I'm a little hard-pressed to say it's, like, my all-time favorite Zelda game, but if nothing else, it's definitely my favorite top-down Zelda game.
this game
That's
is
fair.
such as fun.
It's my favorite too, Link Between Worlds.
I guess with that said, I feel like we may have brought this question up before, but it has been a while, so my memory's a little foggy. What are your... I still love the way it flaps around as it's dying. Never say that Nintendo skimps out on its sound design.
Oh yeah,
Well,
definitely.
what were you about
Most
to
of the
ask?
time, anyway. What is your all's favorite Zelda game? I think I already know what Seely's is, but humor us anyway.
You want to go first, Matt?
You can if you want.
Well, I was offering you. I was trying to be considerate.
That's fair. Let's see. Well, to be fair,
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, by the way, the last Mario cameo will be seeing Potaboos, or Fire Bubbles as they're called now.
yay. Link Between Worlds and Breath of the Wild are pretty much tied for my favorites, so it's basically a matter of Link Between Worlds is my favorite 3D Zelda, and Link Between Worlds is my favorite 2D Zelda, Breath of the Wild is my favorite 3D Zelda.
Alright.
Okay.
I gotta play Link Between Worlds again.
Yes.
It's a good time.
Let me see. I already mentioned like Link Between Worlds. I already mentioned Link Between Worlds being my favorite top-down Zelda. I still really love Breath of the Wild. I think that's my favorite 3D. I definitely have a soft spot for Minish Cap, and this might seem weird, Spirit Tracks as well.
Spirit Tracks I actually think
I love Spirit Tracks.
was really good. That is actually, like, I remember years and years ago, my dad bought me, oh, you're controlling that thing, got it.
Yeah.
No Sierra?
My dad and I went to Best Buy long time ago, and he got
Nice.
me the game. And it was just like, thank you. Yeah.
I mean, for what it's worth, Spirit Tracks is pretty much, Phantom Hourglass's game design actually fully realized.
yeah, it's basically, what if Phantom Hourglass was better?
And not sucking.
I guess.
But yeah, it's like aside from that, even though I've never like fully beat, oh come on, I was about to say, even though I've never another one I like, even though I've never technically beaten it from beginning to end, I still really love like the story and characters of it. Wind Waker.
Oh, yeah.
Wind
Wind
Waker.
Wind Waker's
It's a
classic.
classic at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. I guess with that said, I mean, top down easily, a Link Between Worlds.
You did the same fuck up I did.
It's a hard habit to kick. I know. It's about as hard of a habit to kick as trying to find all the Korok seeds.
It's a hard, not light. For us.
Hey, why are you blaming me? Logan did it first.
Well, to be fair, I also extend the blame to him, but he's not here.
Yeah, like he's still eating that dinosaur.
That being said, as far as 3D Zeldas are concerned, I'm honestly not sure what to consider my favorite. A part of me wants to say Breath of the Wild, though it has been a very good while since I last played it, so I probably am due for another playthrough.
Yeah.
Although likely
Yeah.
I'm probably just going to do another
Oh,
playthrough of Mario
Fire.
Odyssey because I love that game so much. But anyway, there's
Honestly,
that.
my whole thing is that I'm still incredibly pissed off that I was forced to sell my Switch years ago, so I have to redo the entirety of Breath of the Wild after I finish the entire game.
Well, I mean, hey, it just means you're due for another playthrough. But
I
anyway, going
mean,
back
there's
to
nothing wrong with playing through Breath of the
fuck.
Wild more than once.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, what was I going to say?
You were about
but
to
yeah,
ask
no,
Susie
Breath of
her
the Wild,
favorites?
I have a lot of respect for, just because it did try to do a lot different, and in some ways, I think it succeeded. Other than that, I mean, yeah, Wind Waker is definitely a classic for me. In fact, it's probably the one I'm the most nostalgic for, just because I did own it since that day. It came out in like 2002/2003.
Would anybody like to hear something interesting about me?
What's up?
The first time I ever got to play Wind Waker was with the HD remake.
I mean, hey, no better starting point in my honest opinion.
Sorry,
because
remaster. I meant to say.
Well, no, it's okay. I mean, it's still a really top-notch remaster, and if only because, well, first of all, it's prettier, and secondly, they gave you the Swift Sale.
Yeah, like it basically is like not only the better looking, but it's also the one that really like trims down a lot of the tedium people have with the original game.
Absolutely.
In terms of, my favorite game, I mean, Ocarina of Time goes without saying, but Minish Cap is another one of my favorite ones. I feel like it's really underrated.
I'd have to agree.
It is. I mean, it is a very solid, not Nintendo-made Zelda game.
I'm just going to say it. Can we please have Vaati back in some form? I miss Vaati.
I mean, there's Minish Cap and, unpopular opinion, Four Swords Adventures.
I know Four Swords is pretty good in my opinion.
No, not
but-
Four Swords, Four Swords Adventures.
I meant the Adventures. But my problem is the fact that it's still been years since we have dealt with Vaati. It's been
Yeah.
years. We need Vaati back.
I mean, I don't think we need him, but it would be nice to see him back.
You talk about Vaati, what about Girahim? He was too flamboyant to not have a second appearance.
That's fair, but the
But
problem.
I thought he died in Skyward Sword.
Yeah, he technically
Well, he did, but
but
he-
to be fair,
He did.
Yeah.
But it's there needs to be a backstory on him. I want to know, like, where he first came. I
To
mean, I
be
know
fair,
he was
they
a
did.
sword from...
Yeah.
You get what I mean, right?
Yeah, I know, but honestly, here's the thing. I get it. Ganondorf is the big bad. Ganon is the big bad. We have to.
Matt, can I actually say something real quick? This is the part that stopped me on my first playthrough, because you're supposed to shoot an arrow on that eye over there.
Right.
Thing is, it's height challenged. What I never thought to do was go down to that platform over there with the slant on it,
Oh.
like so.
Oops.
Yeah, that's. Yeah,
That
weird.
stopped me really bad on my first playthrough, and now,
I
and I mean,
bet.
looking back on it, I was a fucking fool for not thinking of doing that.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Anyway,
But yeah, you were saying about Vaati?
don't get me wrong. I love Girahim and all that, but it's been. But to be fair, it's been what 9 years, technically now 10 since Girahim. It's been almost 20 years since Vaati.
I'm still surprised he was never like at any part of Hyrule Warriors.
Like
Yeah, you think they would? You
Yeah.
think they would have used him?
He what? Wait, he wasn't? I thought
no,
he was.
he wasn't. No.
No,
Nope.
they didn't. Also, hello, we're on top of the dungeon again, and up
Yeah, it's
here is
like-
another heartbeats for us.
Like it
Um,
really does say something about that
Technically,
game.
there were... Sorry.
I was about to say, because it's like, yeah, he wasn't there. It really says something. Like, Marin was playable in that game over Vaati.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was still kind of
Technically,
funny. That was still funny to think.
Technically, there were two incarnations of Vaati. There was Four Swords. There was Four Swords, Four Swords Adventures, and then there was the Minish Vaati and Minish Cap, who just had an evil heart and took the cap that Eslo made.
Well, neither
Right.
of them were in the game as well, I meant.
Yeah, but let's be fair. That eventually turned into Wind God asshole Vaati. But
Right. That's what I was saying.
yeah. But the whole thing is that, look, I get it. Ganondorf's the big bad. Ganon is the big evil man of the series. We can have one other time where it doesn't have to be Ganondorf. Just one.
Honestly,
Actually, when you think about it, Vaati, like in Minish Cap, if you didn't get to Zelda in time, it'd be a game over.
and actually, it's something that I
That's really
like,
dark if you think about it.
yeah.
I was about to say it's something that I don't know if a lot of people talk about, but like. You say the whole thing about, like, we could use someone other than Ganon. Like, to the series' credit, there's been, like, a
Alright.
large handful of games that actually don't even have Ganon involved. Like, we brought up before, like, Link Between Worlds, like, okay, technically it's a version of Ganon, but it's not like Ganon
no,
proper.
it's still. Let's be fair. It's still.
It's
Ganon,
like a
though.
Dark World version of Ganon, because Ganon is not part of the Dark World contrary to what everyone believes.
But Ganon is still technically in the game because Yuga merges with Ganon. So
Even so, I mean, granted, at the end of the day, though, I do sort of agree with the fact that at the end of the, like, I mean, sure, there was Ganon's influence for sure, but I still think Yuga still was the end-all, be-all villain of
well,
that story.
of course, I'm not
Like
saying-
Ganon was only used as a vessel.
That's-
for those wondering,
It's still the fact that Ganon was in the game. Can we just have one game where Ganon isn't mentioned, like in Minish Cap?
If I can make my point real quick, this is the
Actually-
reason why.
Sorry.
you can argue that in Skyward Sword, Ganon wasn't really a thing, but the evil incarnation of him was. Like, that's just his embodiment. That wasn't Ganon proper.
Now, okay, real quick, because James wants to say something real quick. Go ahead, man.
If you were wondering why I was fighting the Goma snakes up that second roof, that there was it would spawn the treasure
Dodongo
chest on the second
snakes.
floor.
You
Yeah.
said Goma
Dodongo-
snakes.
The dongos, ass, bitch. Fuck.
Fight them on the second floor, or else you're screwed out of that chest,
Yeah.
and you'll have to fight them again.
I'm sorry.
That
by the
does
way,
sound
I'll shut up.
obnoxious.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I mean, honestly, like, if nothing else, it is kind of like an interesting thing that I don't see a lot of Zelda fans talk about, the idea of, like, other villains aside from Ganondorf. And I still stand by my opinion that I like to think that Zelda is a little bit better about villain variety than most people give it credit for.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I should probably bring up the fact that Zelda wasn't a princess in Skyward Sword. She was Hylia, the goddess incarnate.
That's fair, but again, it's still the fact that, yes, it wasn't technically Ganondorf, but it was also technically Ganondorf. And
It wasn't Ganondorf, it was the embodiment of Ganondorf that started the whole evil.
Hey, Dukum.
Put him up.
I'm
So
sorry.
you'll want to be
James.
careful of this mini boss because he has a mean hook that could send you right out of the room if you're
Oh,
if you're
boy.
not careful.
Yeah,
But no,
I'll say, look at that.
his name is Demise. He was the embodiment of
Yeah.
evil that started Ganondorf.
But to be fair, you can also then say that we technically don't have Ganondorf in Breath of the Wild. It's just an incarnation of evil that is technically, let's be fair, just Demise's true form.
Well, to argue with you there, okay, so in Skyward Sword, no one knew Let me finish. Oh,
Wait, what happened?
I had to hit the crystal again to open up the pathway.
Ah.
And with that, our final item for the game, the magic
Woohoo!
rod.
Magic
now
rod,
you can
burn it.
burn things.
Burn
it
to the ground! Burn to the ground!
You finally found your beaten stick.
to finish my thought, the Demise was around before anyone even knew Ganon was a thing. Whereas in Breath of the Wild, everyone knew who Ganon was and what he did and how he existed. But by Skyward Sword, Ganon didn't exist yet.
I'll just.
Would you say...
Stop. I'll just.
No, you're fine. Everyone is fine. I don't know if this is a really apt comparison, but it's one that just popped up in my mind. Would you say Ganondorf is kind of like Demise's Nobody?
Basically. Okay.
Basically, yes.
I apologize. Here's my big thing. I don't want, and I know you'll argue this, but this is my big thing. My main problem is that I just want a villain that has no relation whatsoever at all in any single bit with Ganondorf. Because Demise
And
is
that's
the
fair.
original Demise is the original incarnation of Ganondorf. Yuga was using Ganondorf and was technically an evil counterpart to him, or even more evil counterpart. That's
Vaati didn't use Ganondorf in Minish Cap, but he did in Four Swords Adventures. I don't know if he did in Four Swords.
He probably did.
But I'm mainly talking about the Minish Cap Vaati, because don't get me wrong, Four Swords and Four Swords Adventures, like, yeah, Vaati was a big threat there, but I like when they humanized him and made him really fucking sadistic.
Yeah.
But no, again, it's my big problem of just...
And on a side note, he had the Happy Mask Man sound clip.
Yeah, my main thing is, much like, say, the Majora's Mask, Minish Cap, they didn't have any reference to Ganondorf whatsoever, and that was completely
True.
fine.
Yeah. I agree with you there.
Yeah.
This game doesn't mention Ganon at all either, does it?
Technically...
There is a callback to him, but otherwise...
Isn't the Final Nightmare, isn't that like the form of Ganon, but it's not Ganon?
It takes...
It takes a form of Ganon, but it's not Ganon.
Yeah. It, like, takes one form of Ganon and stuff like that, but, like...
Actually, two forms, technically, but,
To be fair, it is still its own being, so this game also
Yeah.
counts in that. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'll shut up. I'm sorry.
You know what we could use? Another Mario platformer where Bowser isn't the villain.
Yes, please. In fact, not...
Did we ever have a Mario game without Bowser as the villain?
Yes, it's called Mario 2.
Make Wario evil again.
True.
Honestly, can I just say, I had a theory years ago, and I think I mentioned this before, my theory about, like, Bowser's hat that he used in Odyssey. I thought it was going to be, like, the father or the grandfather of
Cappy?
Of Cappy and Tiara.
But Mario 2 doesn't count because it was just a localization of Doki Doki Panic.
Yeah.
No, I think we brought this up before. It did originally start off as a Mario prototype.
Oh, did it?
And
I
then
didn't know
turned
that.
into Doki, then eventually became a nerd.
Yeah, licensing deals and whatnot, they pretty much allowed them to use their original characters for the sake of that project. And then they kind of went full circle and added Mario in for the US release.
Let's think of, how
Makes
about this? Let's think of other franchises that overuse its,
Ow.
that overuse its main villain.
Star Fox.
Star Fox most definitely.
Yeah, no, Star Fox is very guilty. Well,
Yeah.
it was very guilty about that, especially nowadays.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, honestly, I'd argue, like, you say whatever you want about Ganondorf and Bowser, I argue Star Fox is probably the worst offender of that.
I mean, to be fair, the only time it was real outright offensive was with Star Fox Adventures, because they clearly wanted to have the main villain just be General Scales, but then they had to pull an upset at the very last second just to, you know, keep the ties to Star Fox relevant.
Yeah, but, I don't know. I'm trying to think. What's another good...
I mean, I'm not gonna really give it too much shit, because in the way it's honestly more funny than aggravating, but Dr. Wily?
Yeah, to be fair, they make a joke about
Actually,
that.
no. Sigma, I think, is a far worse offender.
You're finished!
I'm getting Minish Cap's vibes from this
I'll
room.
never let you play the instruments of the siren! Or no.
I'll never let you play the instruments of the sirens.
Ooh.
Oh, he does look like the manga now.
Oh, look at that, what a hothead. Hothead is honestly not that... Honestly, Hothead's really nothing special.
I like how we
just throw your...
I like how we have to defeat him using fire, when he literally is made of fire.
I mean, granted, it's true that this thing is mostly for burning things, but who's to say it's just primarily a burning tool?
That's fair.
Like, you know what they say, fight fire with fire! But yeah, no, that's all you really need to worry about. Just keep spamming it and spamming with your magic rod, which, by the way, doesn't have any magic meter to worry about, and you're good.
That's good.
And with that, he's history.
It's kind of broken, isn't it?
Why did you come here? If it weren't for you, nothing would have to change. You cannot wake the great Aku. Remember, you too are in the dream.
That's the point. I don't want to be in this dream anymore.
Actually, if I can interrupt real quick, I want to, like, continue Med's thing about, like, we got some straight up freaks coming in this place.
I
Thank you, Samurai.
Straight up pigs coming to this place. No, now that I think about it, honestly, let's be fair. The greatest offender of repeated enemies is Nintendo. Every single
guess
IP
we
we've
can
talked,
over-
every single IP we just talked about right now, all Nintendo.
Well, except for Mega Man. That was
Except
Capcom.
for Mega Man, but let's be fair, Mega Man was originally like a second-party Nintendo game.
Anyway, final instrument here, the Thunder Drum, which sounds like it came straight out of a Game Boy synthesizer.
Yeah.
And with that, we've pretty much got them all. So where to next?
Egg.
Lord.
The egg on the mountain calls.
So yeah, remember that big honkin' egg that you always see on every promotional material for Link's Awakening? We're gonna have to go to that for our finale.
Woohoo!
We're gonna make the world's biggest omelet.
Ooh boy, better get the salt.
See ya.
I appear to be in the wrong place.